Horns screamed. Cars crawled and pushed on the Abuja highway. In the middle of the noise stood a small boy with a school bag on his head, tears washing dust off his cheeks. His name was Musa. His sandals were loose, and his lips shook. A long trailer groaned as it rolled closer. A black SUV stopped with a sharp hiss. A tall man in a fine kaftan jumped out and raised his hand. "Stop there," he shouted to the traffic. The man was Mr. Farouk, a billionaire many people knew by name, but here he was just a father who saw a child in danger. Musa took a step back. His heel slipped on a stone. The trailer horn blasted again. A strong hand reached for him. Earlier that morning, the sun had barely climbed when Mr. Abdul tied his tie in the mirror. He was a gentle man with kind eyes. In the kitchen, his first wife, Bimbo, sang softly as she turned yam on the fire. Her voice made the house feel warm. 8-year-old Musa peeped in with his books. "Mummy Bimbo, should I take water for assembly?" he asked. "Yes, my son," she said, rubbing his head. "You'll be great today." At the corridor, the second wife, Mariam, stood with her arms folded. She watched Bimbo laugh with Abdul. She watched Musa get a small hug before school. A tight knot grew in her chest. She remembered her nights of trying to get Abdul's attention and the quiet way he still looked at Bimbo. In her mind, every smile to Bimbo was a slap to her face. When Abdul left for work and Bimbo stepped out to buy tomatoes, Mariam's eyes followed Musa. "You," she called. "Come here." Musa came, still smiling. "Auntie Mariam?" She thrust a small bag at him. "Take your clothes. Go. Leave this house." He blinked. "Auntie, did you not hear me? Leave now. If you come back." Her voice turned hard like a rock. "If you come back, I will kill you." The words hit Musa like rain in Harmattan. He froze. His hands shook as he placed the bag on his head. "Auntie, please, I didn't do anything." "Get out." She pushed the door. Wood slammed. The latch clicked. Mariam paced the sitting room. "Good," she whispered. "Let them come home. I will say he went to school and didn't return. I will cry. I will search. I will be the good wife." She practiced the tears in the mirror, tilting her head, touching her chest, like a woman in pain. Outside, Musa walked and walked. He passed a kiosk, a mechanic yard, a woman frying akara. The sun rose higher and burned his scalp. He wiped his eyes with the back of his hand and kept moving until the street opened to the big road, the one with heavy traffic and loud buses and fast motorbikes. He tried to wait on the side, but the crowd pushed and dragged. He stepped forward, he stepped back. He didn't know where to go anymore. Now we returned to the road. The strong hand caught Musa's wrist and pulled him to the safe side of the lane. The trailer thundered past, wind slapping Musa's face. The boy's knees buckled. "You're safe," the man said, kneeling so his eyes met the boy's eyes. "My name is Farouk. What is your name?" Musa. "Where are your parents?" Musa's mouth opened, but no sound came. He hugged his bag tighter, like it was the last thing he owned in the world. "It's okay," Mr. Farouk said. His voice was soft, like water on dry ground. "Tell me," Musa swallowed. "I can't go back home," he whispered. "Else she will kill me." "Who is she?" "Auntie Mariam," he said, looking down. "She said I should never come back." A tear fell, hot and quick. Mr. Farouk's face changed. He nodded slowly, then took a deep breath. "Listen to me, Musa. I will not take you back to any place that is not safe. I promise." He lifted a hand, like a simple oath. "I promise you." He opened the SUV door. The driver passed a small bottle of water and a wrapped meat pie. Musa stared at the food as if it was magic. "Eat," Mr. Farouk said. "You must be hungry." "Thank you, sir." Musa took the smallest bite, then another, then a bigger one. The driver smiled at the mirror. Across the city, at that very moment, Abdul walked into the sitting room with Bimbo. "Mariam, where is Musa?" Mariam clapped her hands over her mouth. "Ah, I thought he was with you. He went to school and has not returned." "I am worried, my husband. I am very worried." Bimbo's breath caught. "He always comes to greet me first," she said, her voice trembling. "Where is my son?" They rushed out. Neighbors joined. Mariam cried loud and louder, pointing in 10 different directions, leading the search like a woman with a broken heart. Back in the SUV, Mr. Farouk asked gently, What is your father's full name? Abdul. Mr. Abdul, Musa said, trying to remember his school tag. He pulled it from his pocket. My school is here. Good boy. Mr. Farouk snapped a photo of the tag. He dialed. Zainab, he said when his PA answered. Call this school. Find the parents of Musa. One is Mr. Abdul. I want their numbers and address. And Zainab, be careful. If anyone sounds harsh about this boy, note it. As they waited, a small crowd began to gather near the SUV. People pointed. Why is that rich man taking the child? Someone asked. Hope it's not kidnapping? Another muttered. The driver lowered his window a little. We are helping him, he said. Helping? A man scoffed. Na so dem they start. A stone tapped the back door. Musa flinched and hugged his bag. Sir, the driver said, voice tight. We need to move. Not without the boy. Calm, Mr. Farouk replied, keeping his tone steady. He placed an arm around Musa's shoulders. You are safe with me. Zainab called back. Sir, I found the house. Her voice came through the car speakers. But there is a problem. Before she could finish, a sharp bang hit the window beside Musa. The glass trembled. The crowd's voices rose, hot and fast, like fire climbing dry grass. Open that door, someone yelled. Let us see the boy. The driver's hands shook on the wheel. Musa started to cry again. Another heavy thud. A spiderweb crack spread across the glass, right next to Musa's face. The cracked line on the window spread like a spiderweb. Voices rose outside the SUV. Open the door. Who is the boy? Call police. Musa shook and held his bag like a shield. Mr. Farouk leaned closer and spoke calmly, like a steady drum. Look at me, Musa. Breathe in, breathe out. He put one hand on the child's shoulder and the other on the door button. Then he did something brave. He opened the door. Hot air and noise rushed in. People stepped back in surprise. Mr. Farouk stood tall in his fine kaftan so everyone could see his face. My name is Farouk, he said in a loud, clear voice. This child was almost hit by a trailer. I pulled him to safety. I am taking him to the nearest police post. Now, he pointed down the road. If you worry, follow us there. We will all talk openly. A man at the edge of the crowd frowned, then squinted. Wait, is that not the man building the children's hospital in Guaranpa? Another woman nodded. Yes, yes. I saw him on TV. The angry shouts softened to murmurs. The driver started the engine. Seat belt, Mr. Farouk told Musa, guiding the belt across his small chest. He waved to the crowd. Police post. Come if you want. Then the SUV rolled away, followed by two Okadas and a curious keke. Inside the car, Musa sipped more water, his hands still shaky. The speaker clicked. Zainab's voice filled the car. Sir, I reached the school. I also reached a number for Mr. Abdul. He and his wife are searching. I told them to meet you at the Wuza police post. Well done, said Mr. Farouk. He looked at Musa. You hear that? Your parents are coming. Musa's eyes filled again, this time with a softer kind of tears. Across the city, Bimbo ran from shop to shop, asking every face, Have you seen my son? Please, have you seen my Musa? Her breath came in short, painful gasps. Abdul tried to hold her hand, tried to be strong, but his own lips trembled. Mariam walked beside them, pressing her fingers to her eyes to fake tears. Ah, my husband. Abuja is big. Maybe kidnappers. Bimbo spun, eyes flashing. Don't say that. Mariam put a hand on her chest. I only said maybe. He went to school and didn't come back. I even saw him. With his bag. Abdul stopped. You saw him with his bag? Mariam's mouth froze for a second. I mean, last week, or another day. Bimbo stared at her, a strange coldness passing over her face. Then Abdul's phone rang. Hello? This is Zainab, assistant to Mr. Farouk, the voice said. Your son Musa is safe at the Wuza police post. Please come. Bimbo almost fell to her knees from relief. Thank you, God, she cried. Abdul waved down a taxi, and the three of them rushed to the address. At the police post, a calm officer with a big notebook welcomed them. You are the parents of Musa? Yes, Bimbo cried. Where is my child? Before the officer could answer, a small voice called from the next room. Mummy Bimbo. Musa ran out, and Bimbo caught him, pressing his head to her chest. She kissed his dusty forehead again and again. My son, my son. Abdul hugged them both, eyes wet. Thank you, sir, he said, turning to the man who stood a little apart. You must be Mr. Abdul, said Farouk, nodding with respect. I saw your boy in the middle of the road. I could not drive past. Abdul held his hand in both of his. I will never forget this. Mariam walked in quickly, her face bright with practiced worry. Musa, where did you go? We were dying of fear. She reached for him. Musa flinched and hid behind Bimbo. The officer opened his notebook. We will hear from the child first, he said. He kept his voice gentle. Musa, tell us what happened. The room went very still. A wall clock ticked. Musa looked at Bimbo, then at the officer, then at the floor. He spoke softly, but every word was clear. Auntie Mariam told me to leave the house. She said if I come back, she will kill me. He swallowed. So I left. A sound like air leaving a balloon came from Bimbo's mouth. Abdul's face emptied of color. Mariam laughed, too loud. Officer, children lie. He is confused. I sent him to buy pure water. He went and did not come back. That is all. The officer turned a page. Did you send him with money? Eh, the neighbor saw. Mariam waved her hand. Everyone saw. Which neighbor? Plenty neighbors. Zainab stepped forward with a small folder. Officer, permission to share what we learned, she said. At his nod, she read from her notes. The school says Musa did not sign in today. A woman selling akara near their street says she saw the boy walking with a bag alone, looking afraid. Time. Just after 9. The officer wrote, slow and careful. Good. We will still visit the street. Mariam's smile thinned. She pointed at Musa. You want to paint me black, Abi? After all I do in that house. Bimbo's voice shook. What did you do, Mariam? Tell the truth. I said he should go and think small. Only small. You people will twist it. She stepped toward Musa. You say sorry now. She grabbed his arm. Musa yelped. Bimbo moved fast, pulling him back. Leave my child alone. The officer raised a hand. Madam, sit down. But Mariam's face had changed. The careful tears were gone. Something hot and sharp flashed in her eyes. You think you are better than me because Abdul smiles at you? She hissed at Bimbo. I am also a wife in that house. Madam, the officer said again, firmer now, sit. Mariam's hand flew before anyone could stop it. The slap cracked the air. Musa's head snapped to the side. The whole room froze. The officer's pen stopped mid-word. Abdul's mouth opened without sound. Bimbo gasped and gathered Musa, checking his cheek with shaking hands. Mr. Farouk stepped forward, eyes dark, voice low and steady. Officer, he said, you saw that. The officer stood up so fast his chair scraped the floor. Madam, he said, pointing to a blue bench in the corner. Sit down now. Mariam stared at the bench, breathing hard, then at the faces around her, cold, shocked, angry. She took one quick step backward toward the open door, and then she ran. Mariam's slippers slapped against the corridor tiles as she bolted from the police post. Stop her! The officer shouted, but she was already outside, pushing past curious bystanders. A keke parked at the corner buzzed to life as she jumped in. The yellow tricycle wobbled down the road before anyone could catch it. Inside, the silence that followed was heavy. Musa clung to Bimbo's wrapper like he feared she would disappear too. Bimbo stroked his head, her own tears flowing without care. Abdul stood frozen, torn between shame, rage, and disbelief. I didn't know she could, he whispered. His voice cracked. He turned to Mr. Farouk, almost begging. Sir, what do I do now? My son, my family. Mr. Farouk raised a hand, calm but firm. The question is not what I will do. The question is, will you stand for your son now? His deep eyes rested on Abdul, like a mirror reflecting his guilt. Abdul swallowed hard. He nodded once. Yes, the officer cleared his throat. We will file a case. Endangerment of a minor. Assault. But first, the boy must be safe. He looked at Mr. Farouk. Sir, you said you will help? I will, said Farouk. His gaze softened as he turned to Musa. From this day, Musa, no one will throw you out again. Not while I live. Musa blinked up at him. You You mean it? Farouk smiled faintly. When I promise, I keep it. For the first time that day, Musa's shoulders loosened. He leaned into Bimbo's arms, sighing like a boy too tired to carry fear anymore. Night fell heavy when Abdul, Bimbo and Musa returned to their house. The compound that once felt warm now looked strange, like walls hiding secrets. Neighbors peeped through curtains, whispering, "That boy." They said the rich man saved him. Inside, Musa hesitated at the door. His bag still sat on his head. Bimbo took it gently and set it down. "This is your home, my son," she whispered. "No one can send you away." But Musa's eyes darted nervously around the corners. "What if she comes back?" he asked. Bimbo hugged him. "Your father is here. I am here. You are safe." Abdul lowered himself into a chair, burying his face in his palms. Every sound of Mariam's voice echoed in his memory. Her fake cries, her bold lies, her slap. He shook his head. How could I not see it? How blind was I? Bimbo touched his arm. We all trusted her. But the pain in her voice told another story. Betrayal burns deeper when it comes from family. Later that evening, headlights swept the compound again. Mr. Farouk had come. He stepped out, his presence filling the air like a sudden wind. Behind him, Zainab carried a box. I could not rest, Farouk said simply. This boy has entered my heart. Musa will not suffer again. He opened the box. Inside were new clothes, shoes, and a tablet wrapped in silver paper. Small gifts, he said, handing them to Musa. But what I truly give is a promise. I will be your godfather. I will guide you. Bimbo gasped, her hands trembling over her mouth. Abdul stood slowly. Sir, we are not worthy. This is not about worth, said Farouk. It is about destiny. He turned to Abdul, his voice firm. But you must also choose. Will you keep Mariam under your roof after what she did? The room stilled. The question stabbed deeper than any knife. Abdul's hands shook as he looked at Musa, his small, tired eyes, the red mark still faint on his cheek from Mariam's slap. Abdul rose to his feet. His decision burned in his chest. No, he said, she will not cross this door again. As if summoned by his words, a loud knock thundered on the gate. Abdul stiffened. Bimbo's breath caught. Musa clutched her wrapper again. Who is there? A neighbor called from outside. A woman's voice screamed back. Familiar. Sharp. Open this gate. This is my house too. It was Mariam. The compound erupted in murmurs. Some neighbors came out, whispering, She came back? After everything? Inside, Abdul's face hardened. He moved toward the door. Bimbo held Musa close. Mr. Farouk folded his arms, his eyes narrowing with calm fire. Another heavy knock. This time, the gate rattled. Mariam was back. And she was not alone. The iron gate shook under Mariam's fists. Her voice cut through the compound like a sharp blade. Abdul, open this gate now. I am still your wife. You cannot lock me out. Neighbors pressed closer, whispering and pointing. Some children climbed on a low fence to watch. The air was heavy with the tension of a secret, about to break wide open. Inside, Musa buried his face in Bimbo's wrapper. His small voice trembled. Don't let her in, mummy. Please. Abdul's jaw tightened. She has no place here anymore. But then came a sound that froze him. A man's cough behind Mariam's shouting. Another voice, deep and mocking, carried over the compound wall. Shebi, you said your husband fears you. Let him come out and fear us too. The neighbors gasped. Who is that? Did she bring someone? The officer's words from the police post echoed in Abdul's ears. Will you stand for your son now? He clenched his fists and stepped toward the gate. When Abdul swung the gate open, Mariam stood there, her wrapper loose, her eyes wild. Behind her, two strange men leaned on a motorbike, chewing gum, eyes hard like Lagos street boys. Abdul, Mariam started, raising her chin. You embarrassed me in front of police. You want to throw me away like rag? I will not leave quietly. I will not. Abdul's voice thundered. You threw my son out like he was nothing. You raised your hand against him in front of the law. You are no wife to me. Mariam's lips twisted. She glanced at the men. You hear him? He thinks he can disgrace me. Show him. One of the men stepped forward, cracking his knuckles. The compound gasped. Children were pulled inside by their mothers. The man sneered. Ogre, better mind how you talk to this woman. She came to us for help. If you don't want trouble. A single calm voice cut through. Step away. Everyone turned. Mr. Farouk stood in the doorway of the house, his kaftan glowing faintly under the yellow security bulb. He did not raise his voice. He didn't need to. Power carried in his tone. The men froze, eyes flicking to him. Recognition dawned. "Nah, that billionaire," one muttered. Farouk walked forward slowly, his gaze steady, his posture unshaken. "If you value your freedom, you will leave this place now, because the next words out of my mouth will summon police cars. And I promise you, they will not ask questions before they lock you behind bars." The two men shifted uneasily. They muttered curses, but mounted their bike, spitting on the ground before roaring away into the night. The crowd buzzed with relief and shock. But Mariam did not leave. She clutched the gate like a drowning woman. "Abdul, you cannot do this to me. I left everything for you. I stood by you when others laughed at your struggles. And now you cast me out because of that woman, because of her son." Bimbo stepped forward, fire in her eyes. "He is not my son. He is your husband's son. Your stepson. You hated him only because he reminded you of me. But today, the world has seen your evil." Mariam's face twisted in rage. "Bimbo, you think you have won? You think because one rich man supports you, you are better than me? Never." She tried to push past Abdul, but he blocked her path. "Enough," he said, voice low, final. "You will not step into this house again. Not tonight. Not ever." The neighbors murmured. Some nodded in agreement. Others shook their heads at the shame of it all. Mr. Farouk turned to the officer who had just arrived with 2 constables. "Escort this woman out. She has no place here." The officer nodded. Mariam's cries turned into screams as they dragged her toward the street. "You will regret this. All of you. Even you, Abdul." Her voice faded into the night until only the chirping of crickets remained. Back inside, the house felt both heavy and light. Heavy with the weight of what had just happened, but light because Musa was safe. Mr. Farouk placed a hand on Abdul's shoulder. "You chose well tonight. But the road is not finished. That woman may try again. For now, Musa must stay where love surrounds him." Abdul nodded, ashamed. "I failed him before. I will not fail him again." Farouk's eyes softened as he looked at Musa, who clung still to Bimbo's wrapper. "Do you trust me, little one?" Musa hesitated, then nodded slowly. "Good," said Farouk, "because tomorrow your life will begin to change." He turned to Abdul and Bimbo. "I will not just be Musa's godfather. I will open doors for his future that no one can shut. You will see." The neighbors still whispering outside didn't know it yet. But this night was the turning point. What Mariam meant for destruction would become the very thing that lifted Musa higher than anyone could have imagined. But even as peace settled in the compound, Musa glanced toward the dark street. His small voice trembled. "Mummy Bimbo, what if she comes back again?" Bimbo hugged him tight. But her own eyes flicked nervously to the door. The night passed with unease. Even after Mariam had been dragged away, Bimbo barely slept. Musa lay between her and Abdul, his small fingers gripping hers tightly as though she might vanish if he let go. Every creak of the house made him flinch. By dawn, however, a new calm began to settle. The golden rays of morning sun pushed through the curtains, washing away the shadows of yesterday. The compound was unusually quiet. Neighbors who had witnessed the chaos now whispered in respect. "That boy is blessed. Even a billionaire cares for him." At exactly 10 in the morning, the sound of expensive tires crunching gravel filled the air. Another black SUV rolled in. Mr. Farouk stepped out, his kaftan spotless, his calm presence commanding the compound again. Zainab followed with papers and a leather folder. "Musa," Farouk called gently. The boy ran into his arms without hesitation this time. Farouk lifted him up with surprising ease and held him close. "You are strong," he whispered. "But strength is not just surviving. It is growing beyond what hurt you." He set Musa down and faced Abdul and Bimbo. "I kept my word. I will be his godfather. But more than that, I want to give him opportunities you may not be able to reach alone." Abdul bowed his head. "Sir, we owe you our lives. Whatever you choose, we are grateful." Farouk handed them the folder. Inside was a scholarship document with Musa's name already printed in bold letters. He will attend one of the best schools in Abuja, all expenses paid. He will never lack. Bimbo's tears fell freely, this time not from pain, but from joy. She hugged Musa tight, whispering prayers of thanks. 2 weeks later, Mariam returned briefly, not with threats this time, but with silent shame. She came to the compound gates, carrying only a small nylon bag. Neighbors ignored her. Abdul stepped out and said just one thing: "You are no longer my wife. Leave." Mariam lowered her head. She muttered under her breath, but turned and walked away, her shadow stretching long in the sun. It was the last time anyone in that compound saw her. Time moved like water, carrying away the bitterness of the past. Musa grew under the wings of 3 guardians, his father, his mother Bimbo, and his godfather Farouk. With every year, his small hands became steady, his voice grew bold, and his eyes shone with purpose. At 15, Musa was top of his class. At 18, he received awards for innovation. By 21, he was already known in Abuja as a young entrepreneur, building businesses and speaking at youth conferences. Cameras often caught him beside Farouk, who introduced him proudly as "my son." One evening, during a grand gala at a hotel in Maitama, Musa stood on stage in a sleek black suit. Journalists flashed cameras as he received an award for Young Achiever of the Year. He paused before speaking, scanning the crowd until his eyes rested on Bimbo and Abdul, seated together in tears of pride. He lifted the award. "This is not just mine. This belongs to my parents, who never stopped loving me, and to a man who saw me on the road when I had no hope. That day, I was thrown out of a house, but I was picked up by destiny." The hall thundered with applause. After the event, Musa walked quietly to the balcony, the Abuja night sparkling with lights. Farouk joined him, hands clasped behind his back. "You have done well, Musa," he said softly. "You turned pain into power." Musa looked up at him, his voice steady but full of gratitude. "You kept your promise, sir. You did not just save me. You gave me a life." Farouk smiled faintly. "No, son. You gave yourself this life. I only cleared the road." Bimbo and Abdul soon joined them, standing close as a family. For the first time in years, there was no fear, no tears, only pride, love, and hope. The boy who had once been thrown out with a bag on his head now stood taller than anyone had imagined. His stepmother's cruelty had not broken him. It had become the very fire that pushed him to greatness. And so the story ended where it began, on a road in Abuja. But this time, Musa was not standing alone in tears. He was walking forward, surrounded by love, guided by destiny, and blessed with a future brighter than the city lights. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more videos.